I think it's a very important question today to ask ourselves who is trying to get this Muslim hysteria in our societies in Europe and in the States, because for years I thought that this was only happening in Europe because we had this, populist trends and extreme rights rhetoric that we have. But recently in the States we had exactly the same with Stop Islamization of America, with Park 51, and then with this Burn a Quran Day that we had. So it's an international Western reality. And we have to ask ourselves, who is behind that? And I would say that there are many levels. The first is what we have now in the West. It's not exactly far-right groups that are coming. The old far-right groups that we had in the 40s, 50s. They were spreading hatred and xenophobia and racism. We have some of these groups and they don't like Muslims, and now they are talking about Muslims the way yesterday they were talking about black people, Arabs, and even in some of the European countries. When I was young in Switzerland, we have xenophobic parties speaking about Spanish or Italian as immigrants and as the people that we have to get rid of or to protect ourselves from. So it's this discussion about immigration it's important. So we have now some of the parties are far-right parties, but the most important trend, I would say, is populism. And I wrote an article which is called The Second Proposition, saying the populist parties, they have 4 features that are important. The first one is really that they are coming with very simplistic answer to complex socioeconomic questions. They say, why do we have this, unemployment? It's because we have, foreigners coming, and these people are taking our bread, these people are taking our, so very simplistic. We know them, so these are the immigrants and these are the foreigners. The second thing, which is the mindset that we have with the populist, is really a binary vision of realities, us versus them. So the more they can spread around this Muslim hysteria, the more they are portraying the other, the danger, the new danger, and this is what they are doing. And the third feature that they have is really putting themselves as, victims. So we are the victims of, the other, we are the victims. So look at these Muslims, they are colonizing our countries. So the victim mentality is something which is important. And the most important thing, which is really important, you used in your question hysteria. And hysteria is about emotions. So they are dealing with emotional politics. Emotional politics is just to speak to your guts, to speak to your feelings, and the people are scared. So the people, they don't trust what is happening, so they use the fear and they instrumentalize fears to spread around hysteria. So I think that the populist party now are winning the game in many countries. Look at what is happening in the Netherlands, what is happening in your country, what is happening in France, what is happening in Germany, what is happening in Denmark. They are leading. And in my own country, the Swiss People Party, the UDC, it's coming exactly with the same rhetoric. So I would say here that what is important for us is to understand the rhetoric, and there is a vicious circle. Why? Because they know how to play with media. So the media are getting them because they are spreading controversies. And by spreading controversies, they get the headlines. And by getting the headlines, it's interesting for the media. So we are in a vicious circle. So for all of us, it's very dangerous because we are seeing the coming back of old racism coming back to our society now. And I think that this is what we have to resist. We have to refuse. This racism is very dangerous today for all of us. So this is one of the causes. Now we cannot stop here. We have many other trends who are not willing to deal with Islam because for them it's the coming back of religion. Some of the people, they confuse a secular society with anti-religion presence. They don't want Christianity, they don't want Muslims, they don't want Jews, they don't want anything which has to do with religion. So by doing this, they are saying, religions are coming back because the Muslims are coming. So we target the Muslims and we will get rid of religion. This is another cause. We have something which is also an international reality. It's that many of them, we have feminists and I agree with many of their struggles. I think that we need, a movement of women's liberations. But for them, Islam, by definition, is against women. So they target the Muslim by saying, so we can't just say, and in the book that I have been writing, I'm mentioning some of the trends that are targeting the Muslims by spreading this hysteria. And there is a last point which is important here, is that many of the people who are blindly supportive of Israel, they are scared of the Muslim presence in Europe. Why? Because for them, the Muslim presence in the West is supporting the Palestinians and targeting the Israeli. And what they are saying is that the new anti-Semitism is coming from Muslims. It's very important for Muslims to start by saying anti-Semitism is anti-Islamic. We can't accept no racism, no type of racism. This is unacceptable. But I have the right as a citizen to be against my own country of origin, Egypt, or to be against Saudi Arabia, or to be against Israel. This has nothing to do with racism. So we don't have to confuse that. So you see, a simple question, different angles, it's complex, but we need to get this if we want to solve the problem, not to be simplistic in our answer, not to be naive in our understanding, and to understand it's going to take time, and we have to work on many fronts, different fronts, in order to find a solution. But it's our responsibility to get this. It's the civic responsibility to resist anything which has to do with hysteria, Islamophobia, racism, and to come with a commitment for our common human rights and our common understanding that our living together should be based on justice and dignity. No, I think that there is the potential for them to change. But if you look at what happened over the last few days and weeks, we still have these stereotypes around. We can feel them. You know, the best way to get the stereotypes in the mind of someone is that to show him or her a reality and to ask him, tell me what you see. And the way he or she is going to see this, you will see the stereotypes, the projection. And look at what happened in the Arab world. The first question is, okay, look, very silent European governments and still people not knowing. So with the heart, they were with the people, they have to, but with the mind, they were doubting. Who is behind this? Are they Islamists? So the first thing that we had is a binary vision. And this is the first stereotype that we have when you are dealing with a tendency towards racism or a tendency towards simplification. And this is what we had. It's as if in the Arab world, you have no choice but between dictators and radical Islamists. In between, nothing. They are not like us. So when you see things through this lens, it's quite clear that there is a problem of stereotyping. Now, with a slow process, we had voices coming from there, because we also have to say something which is important. I don't know, I'm sure that you have heard these young leaders in Tunisia or in Egypt coming very bright, speaking, in a very wise way, being able to articulate, we are not against the West. It's not Islamic per se. It's for our dignity, our rights, and our freedom. So this now, it's reaching. So this is the potential. It's going to be achieved if and only if we can achieve the revolution in something which is true independent state, free. It's not going to happen yet. We need time because it's a process with the civil society. So this is the first stereotype that we have. Now the second one, it's you had something implicitly, people keeping on repeating, you know what, it's not Islam. Meaning what, in fact? So these people who are working or asking or claiming for rights and dignity and justice, they are doing it instead or despite Islam. Islam is there, but still it's not. So you say, what is the point? It's as if to be a Muslim means that you cannot just go for this. I think that we have to reconstruct this by saying, look, of course they are mainly Muslims, but as Muslims they don't have a problem with democracy, they don't have a problem with this. So we have to be cautious that acting against the first stereotype is not confirming the second one, which is problematic. You say, oh, this is not this, but we are confirming, but they are not Muslims, it's not Islamic. So, okay, look, this is a problem. So yes, there are Muslims mainly, and then you have to come. And once again, this is the potential. Who has the keys of changing this? And I think that this is very important for us, you and me, in the West, here, to come together and to be able to say, look, we have common values, these are the principles, and we can come together in order to explain what is happening in the Muslim majority countries and to say, look, when you listen to Gaddafi, don't you think like I think that he is a bit crazy and smart at the same time, and what he's doing is just unacceptable? Let us come to this. So this is the potential from the top to the bottom to be able to change the perceptions. It's not going to be easy because you don't change mentality with revolutions only. You change mentality with understanding, with education. It's a long process. What is happening today in Libya is just showing us that the pressure that we had from the West was very strong in Egypt and Tunisia, and the American administration was saying to the army, don't be involved, just wait and see. It happened twice. Now, Muammar Gaddafi, it's quite smart. What he's saying at the same time, and this is what he was building from within, is say, the people who are against me are Islamists from within, and from outside this is American administration. They tried to get rid of me and my regime and my revolution. So he's not following the West, and he has no pressure, and he's killing people. In Iran, it's also something which is important. The relationship between Iran and the West, it's very tense and very conflicting. So any kind of pressure in Iran is not going to work. And the last election, we saw that they were very, very tough with the people, killing people in an unacceptable way. For me, this is not acceptable, and we have to condemn this. So now we also have something which is a tension. It could happen if something changed in Iran. And I think that we don't get this in the West. In the West, we have the impression that it's exactly the same as the mass protests that we had in Egypt. What is happening still in Iran, it's that the society there is a fracture. In the countrysides, in the campaigns, the people are still very much supporting the conservative. And Ahmadinejad has a great support from the country. Not in the cities and the urban cities, it's not the case. So there are conflicts here. So they are ready to send the army to protect the regime, and people are scared to, at the time I'm talking now, they would be scared. Nobody knows what could happen in the future if something is changing in the relationship and then they are pushing. And especially because after what happened in other countries, it could be a push. So anything could happen. My hope is that this should happen everywhere, in all the Arab countries, under all the dictatorships, in all the regimes. And I'm putting it, I know that some people are not happy with it. I want it to reach even Israel and the Netanyahu government and Lieberman, who are not respecting the rights of the Palestinians, and to push them to think about what is a true democracy, what is truly respecting Palestinians. So if this could be the future of the Middle East without being, unrealistic, I would hope that this could happen now. Once again, at the same time I'm saying this, I'm not naive. I can see that this is not, the Americans are not only spectators, that from within they are not only people who are spectators, that there are lots of interest, and not only political. We are only talking political interests here. There are economic interests, and it might be that these processes are also driven by future and present political interests. And I think that we have to be more cautious about being idealistic on the political side and completely ignorant on the economic one.